So like it's a bit difficult, right? It's just a whole challenge on its own. I've seen quite a number of blacks who have had to like it's so hard. Not one day, I did that thing almost a week, but it's just so different. When I felt really sick in 2019, so I got tired of hearing that thing. I felt like so hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's Chilo here once again. As always, as you can tell, I'm actually very excited. I think it's because it's been a hot minute I sat down like this and just like had a conversation with you guys or did a video like this, and I missed you guys. I hope you did miss this kind of video too. So, and do you know the funny thing? Today's video is actually one of those videos that I genuinely thought I have shot before on this channel. So when I started seeing it as a video suggestion on under some of my videos, and I saw that also YouTube was telling me or suggesting this video idea to me, and in my head I'm like, but I've done it before. And then it now clicked that actually I haven't done it on my channel, but I have actually done it on other people's channel. So literally almost everybody that has me or that wants to have me for collaboration most times always like to come and talk about the challenges of being black, a black girl, this, that, for obvious reasons, right? And so it kind of made me feel like I have done it on this channel. So I guess this has already given you guys a hint or the title too about what this video is about, which is challenges of being a black girl, or will I just say a minority group, however, challenges of being a black in Japan, simply put. Just for context sake, some of you might be watching me for the first time or seeing me for the first time. My name is Chioma, aka Chilo, and I've been living in Japan now for more than 5 years. And it makes sense when people ask this kind of questions because for obvious reasons, Japan is a very homogeneous country, meaning Japan has over or even more than 90% of the populace being Japanese people. And so when you now think about the remaining, let's say less than 10% is the entire foreigner, so inside that entire foreigner percentage you have black or white or brown skin or Caucasian, everybody is there. So you can now imagine the percentage that blacks are in this country, and that's in comparison to other countries like, let's say, UK, US, Canada, where you have more blacks, right? So yeah, so it makes sense why people ask these questions. Guys, please, before some people come and tell me I'm always sounding negative on, please, I have so many positive videos. I shout it, I scream it on top of my voice how much I love Japan on all my socials, everything. But like I always say, I like to balance the narrative so that some people are watching me and are planning to come, so they know what to expect and how to better manage their expectations. Also, because I like to give value, I'm going to tell you for every challenge I'll just tip or hint what I do that better help me thrive in the country despite that challenge. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? The first on my list, guys, obviously, hair. That's the first on my list. Where else will I have started from? The challenge for hair is supposed to be a whole video on its own, but let's just find a way to summarize it, guys. Now, when it comes to this challenge, is both male and female, but because I'm female, I think I will dwell more on the female challenges. Guys, the challenge for hair is both the style, both the price, both availability, everything. Now, when it comes to style, the Japanese people, obviously, because of their hair texture, the average Japanese lady just wants to straighten her hair, tint her hair, coil her hair, those kind of hairstyles, wash her hair, dry her hair. But the average black lady wants to braid her hair, fix her hair, those kind of things, plus our hair texture. So what now happens is that the hairstylists here are not very conversant with the kind of hairstyles that we like. And then plus our hair texture, they find it really hard to grip our hair texture. It's very difficult to find a Japanese hairstylist that will satisfy your desire or that demand about for that. Now when it now comes to price, let's say you now finally, because definitely this is a video of on an average, I hate to generalize, let's now say you now finally find someone, which I did, I've done at different points. In short, just recently, I was asking somebody, I saw a picture on her page. She's a hairstylist and she did this boho trendy braids that is trending now. And I told her, can she do it on my hair? She said yes. And I'm like, are you sure? She said yes. I asked her how much, guys. She told me that this thing is one, like per strand is what she charges. I don't know if you get what I'm going to say. Per strand is what she charges. Meaning if she does 40, multiplied by 40. If she does 20, I was like, so that gives you an idea of how expensive it can get when you now finally see someone. Now, aside the cost self, let's even assume, okay, you have your style on check, cost on check. Availability too is another issue. Most of the hairstylists here is appointment based and it can be very strict. Unlike back at home, guys, when I could just easily stroll to my hairstylist in Yaba then when I was 7 in Lagos, and she would just be like, okay, just wait 2 hours, I'll come and do something on your hair. But this one, you go back and forth with appointment. This hair that I lose on, guys, if I tell you when I started chatting Yoshi and Yuna, when they will have time to be able to loosen the hair and wash the hair, you will not believe it. So like, it's a bit difficult, right? It's just a whole challenge on it when it comes to hair. So when it comes to hair, my advice is always first of all, find out from the people that were there. If there's other black ladies, it could be black American, it could be black African, whoever, find a way to strike a deal. Sometimes people do braid me, I braid you, plait me, I plait you. My last hair was actually a Nigerian lady that did it for me. Sometimes too, they are not always so available because some of them are students, some of them are working, but at the end of the day, like, at least I have that option of using them too. Now, another thing I always say, so that you're not so heavily dependent on people, because life can get really busy here, right? Because sometimes now you might chat someone and there's no time for 1 full month and you need the hair ASAP. Maybe you have an occasion, you have a presentation, you have something. I always advise people, find a way to be able to make yourself simple styles. I'm going to suggest YouTube channel Adana Maduke, put it on the screen. That channel helped me so much. It made me see that this thing is possible. It's not witchcraft seed to be able to do some simple styles. Things like crochet is not so hard. I do crochet on myself. The hair I took to Singapore, US was crochet. You guys saw it. I did it myself. You can buy your extensions from AliExpress. It's very cheap and affordable on AliExpress. So what I always do is, in the house I have like an extension drawer. So if I have an urgent need to make my hair, like that Singapore trip, how it happened was everybody was busy and I had just like 2 days to prepare. I just went to that extension stash. I'm like, what do I even have it? Oh, and also I had that short crochet. That was it for me. I just had begged someone to help me and do cornrows. Came back home, I chook pin crochet, and the kind of compliments I got from that crochet, both in Singapore, both in US, I had people stopping me, your hair is fine. I'm like, so find a way to balance it so that you're not too dependent on people. So I've dwelled so much on this point. That's the first point. Now the second point I'm going to be talking about is definitely, drum rolls, clothing, dresses, style, everything. How do you want, fashion, however you want to put it. And for this one, just like hair, it's a whole topic. Under fashion, you have challenge in style, challenge with size. Now, to be very honest too, this particular, when it comes to size, it doesn't really affect me so much because I'm not really on the big side, so I can still find my size in Japanese stores, the average Japanese store. I got this top from Japan, right? But on the average, Japanese people are quite petite, they are small in stature, and so it's quite a struggle for people who are on the big side. I've seen quite a number of blacks who have had to like it's so hard, they cannot see their size, they cannot see anything. They've gone from store to store to store to store, yet nothing. The sizing here is so small because, and you won't blame them, markets, the law of economy has to do with demand and supply. You cannot be supplying what is not in demand, so the demand here is definitely those sizes because of how the average Japanese person's stature is. So that's what you mostly see in stores. But when it comes to fashion, that one affects everybody. Now, the Japanese people's fashion is quite different from the African fashion, and I don't know how to explain it that it will make sense. They are really very laid back in fashion. and they do a lot of neutral colors. They don't have so much pop-off colors. Yes, from time to time when you go for shopping you might see what you like, but it's not always the case because of how, there's how different the fashion this thing. A typical example, guys, I remember when I was trying to shop for my pre-wedding gown, that sky blue gown I wore. Guys, I searched. I waka, let me speak PG. I went to almost all the top stores you can think of. No one day, I did that thing almost a week. After lab every day I would go. I did not see anything I liked. So before you even see sky blue color, because like I said, they don't do a lot of colors. They do neutrals, white, black, brown. They do a lot of neutral vibe here. I did not see. I had to end up ordering online. So that brings me to the tip. When it comes to fashion, when it comes to clothing, my advice would always be, please make use of online stores. You have Shein, you have AliExpress, you have ASOS, you have so many online stores. So that's the second point. Now the third point I'll be talking about definitely is food. You guys know by now. But not like Japanese food is bad, it's just that it's so different. What I mean is, Nigeria especially, our food is more on the spicy range. Japanese food is more on the bland. When you test it at first, it looks like it's bland. It's very healthy. It's very nice. It's healthy, balanced. They have one of the longest living people in the world. Like, they live very long, and you can attribute it to their lifestyle and all. But it's just so different. So thankfully, I'm someone that always has food at home. I love to experiment with food. I love to play out food. But it's just something to keep in mind. The food lifestyle, the feeding or the food choices, the food taste, everything is so different. Even their rice, something as little as their rice here is so soft. Now when I have to advise for this, one thing I always tell people is cook. There is nothing else I want to say. Cook. Because it's not even as if like some countries like, let's say, US, Canada, UK, that have Nigerian restaurants in every city you can order. You can't even do that in every city in Japan, because how many Nigerians will they cater? Are they even catering to? You might only see that in Tokyo, but not everywhere. So the remedy is just always to say cook what you're craving for. Now when it comes to food stuff, I always tell people this: open your eyes. See this country. Yes, I understand that sometimes you just want to press your phone, go to the familiar shelf, pick the familiar bread, pay to the familiar cashier and go. Or sometimes close your phone, drop your phone and open your eye. Why am I saying this? Guys, it will shock you that there are some things that that you used to cook that is actually available here. Like cocoyam, ede, that we used to cook bitter leaf soup, or for her that is used as thickener. They have cocoyam here. They use this shot to eat another thing. But that's not my own. My own is I will buy cocoyam and I will use it. They have cocoyam, they have okra. They use it for different things, but they shall have it. They have so many things. Also, another thing you can look for is all these Bangladesh halal, shops, international shops. They tend to have so many things from the international range. So from those stores, that kind of store, I buy things like gari, I buy beans, I buy rice, pound, those kind of things. But after like 1 year or 2 years in Japan, I started to make more inquiries, and from watching some people, that's the good thing about watching videos, I found out that there is a Nigerian woman that delivers Nigerian food stuff to anywhere in Japan, and I started to order typical Nigerian things like abacha, uba, those kind of things. So that's for food. But definitely I always tell people to explore as much as they can. Just that some people are not as adventurous with food, just like me, as other people are adventurous. But I try to use food as a way of integration, in the lab or with church members. I cannot be carrying food to church now or that kind of thing. So when I'm in some kind of social gatherings, I eat. I try to explore and all. But in my own house, I cannot tell you that I will now stay and be craving sushi. I'll now go and start cooking sushi, get that kind of thing. So that means 95% of the time I eat Nigerian food. So yes, that's for feeding. About next thing I'll talk about is weather. Hey God, I think this one is not generally for the entire black community. I think it's for maybe Africans, or let's say Nigerians, different people from the West Africa. I know there is this banter people say if you can stay under AC for long, you can survive in snow. It's not always the case. So Now Japan has the whole four weather cycle thing. They have summer, winter, autumn, fall, blah bobo tibo. They have the whole four weather thing. And one thing we foreigners or we always joke with and banter with is that Japan is an extreme country with weather. There's no in between. If it's very cold, if it's cold, it's very cold. If it's hot, it's very hot. There is no in between. And it's so funny because I never expected that there would be anything hotter than hot, like that. You know, they always refer to we in West Africa that our weather is hot, but guys, their summer here, there was this particular summer that I nearly choked. I just saw myself grasping, struggling to get water, and I was cooking. I think that's part of what happened. And that house was very tiny. The kitchen was so tiny. That my former house I showed you guys. I literally had to run out to get air that day. That's how hot it gets in summer, that everything could feel choking. Molds were growing in my house. Every 2 days I will move my plates, clean the shelf, because the shelf was white, and when molds start growing, it's an eyesore. That's how hot and humid the weather can be in Japan. But aside summer, their winter too gets really cold. Well, the popular thing is, like every other country, some cities are colder than some other cities. Tokyo is not as cold as some region. Hokkaido is very cold, so it depends. But literally, it snows in Japan, it gets to minus, and it can be very cold. And the problem with Japan's cold is that, unlike other countries where you're cold outside, but the minute you enter your house, the building gives you some sort of warmth because it's a thick building. But Japan, because of how light their building material, I think it's wood or whatever, so inside the house is still cold. You on heater, the heater has circulated small, you say okay, let me off it small. The minute you off that heater, give it 5 minutes, everything has evaporated. You're now cold and shaking. You're wondering, am I inside the house or am I outside in the snow? When I fell really sick in 2019, so most of the doctors said it was because of the weather. My body was adjusting, I had just arrived, so I was so sick, and I got tired of hearing that thing. I felt like a whole me that is a queen of adaptability, how can cold bring me? And they were like, calm down, it happens. The body is the body is not wood. And yeah, so that's to show you how much weather can get to you. So my advice for this one is always prepare for every season. Start on time, especially the cold season. Why I said especially the cold season, because I feel like most of the clothes I came with from Nigeria could really serve in summer. But for winter, please buy your winter jacket and buy it early if you can, because it's cheaper to buy those things when it's not yet in season. Because when it's now in season, like it's winter period, it gets more expensive. Buy your jackets on time, ask questions. The people that were there before you, ask questions in the city that you find yourself. How cold does it get? What can you do better? Do you need a standby heater? Do you need this? Just better arm yourself. To be forewarned, they say, is to be forearmed, Abby. Then this next one, it's quite juicy. Dating, the dating scene, the dating challenge. Guys, I have a whole video about challenges of dating, blah blah blah. I did it with Thelma. I'll link it below, so I will not dwell so much on this, but I want to talk about the two major things that makes this a challenge: the dating scene, the dating culture, and the dating pool. Now, the dating culture, guys, truthfully, sometimes I feel like I'm not in the best position to talk about this, because I didn't really, to be honest, I didn't really struggle with this so much. So let's say this video is a compilation of both my struggles and other people's struggles I have interacted with. Now back to what I was saying. The dating pool, in the sense that the dating culture, in the sense that I have a video I did. If you're an OG, you know that video where I did a video with Shigma talking about the differences between dating in Japan and dating in Nigeria. The way they see dating here is so different from the way we see dating, let's say, back at home in Nigeria, so that could be a bit difficult for a lot of people who are even open to dating Japanese people. Because why I said open is because I remember the video I did with Thelma. People came in the comment section and was telling us, oh, I was single then. I was telling us that we should be open-minded, we should not only look for black people. And I'm just laughing, like, you people really think that, everybody's looking for black people. There are people who are open to dating Japanese people, but the dating culture, the way they see things, the way what they expect of you, the expectations from me as a partner can be a bit different, right? And that kind of pose a challenge sometimes to the people who are willing to date. Doesn't mean I have not seen people who are doing amazingly well in the dating scene with Japanese counterparts. I even know someone firsthand that we are suspecting that he will soon propose to that girl, so it's not like it's impossible, but it could be a challenge to some people, right? Then that's for the dating culture. For the dating pool, I would say, now there's another percentage of people who are not open to maybe dating outside their race. See, guys, I don't like to choke my belief on another person. That you want another person to be open-minded doesn't mean that everybody has to be. If someone else said they want to date a fellow Nigerian, allow the person. Date a fellow black, allow the person. You don't know the person's past, you don't know the person's trauma, nothing. So now when the set of people that are looking to date fellow black people or fellow Nigerians, it can be a bit, I don't know why I don't like using the word difficult, because I feel like God has sons everywhere, but it can be a bit daunting, because of course, like I said, the population here is not so much, I mean the black community, and so that means the pool, that kind of makes the pool a bit smaller. Now when it comes to tips for this one, this is personally why I said it didn't really affect me. I personally am of the opinion that you can meet love anywhere, like love can happen anyhow. I always tell people that one of the ways I backs in the creativity of God's wisdom is in people's how we met stories. There's literally no one way of how everybody meets their significant other. There's always different ways. Personally, for me, I've always been very open-minded to, like, how it happens, including long distance. Even before I came to Japan, I have done long distance before. When I came to Japan, 90% of the people I dated were long distance, right? 95 self we're long distance, right? I would choose someone that is long distance and has all the qualities that I'm looking for in a partner than someone that is close distance and is not compatible. At the end of the day, two people that are willing to make it work will make it work despite distance. That is my personal law. It might not be what you believe in. So my advice to people is always be open-minded. Of course, put God at the center. Put God at the center, because even with long distance, people could be very pretentious, but be open-minded. There's no one size fits all formula of how you must meet someone. And please pray about it. Like I just said, God has sons everywhere. Your partner might be in Japan, your partner might not be in Japan. At the end of the day, just the prayer should be, I want to be in God's will. That's it, period. I want to be in God's will. Okay? All right, now let's talk about the next one. The next one I'm going to be talking about is religion. And just as dating, I have a whole video that has talked about religion and everything. And that's because if you're a Christian, right, it's important that you know that the Christianity percentage here is about 1%. About what? 1%. So that means both the choice of church, the culture, everything, the pool of that has shrunk just because of that whole 1% thing. I'm actually grateful that I've not had to struggle with finding a church in my city since I came, but I know people that have had that that struggle, right? But when it comes to the tips I'll give for this one, I would say be flexible with it. Be flexible with it and ask people that were there before you, search online in your city. Also be on the lookout. There's just so many things you can do. You can even stream church online. Let's say I've seen people even in other countries that have churches. I've seen people who are still like attached to their church in Nigeria and they're still streaming their services from where they are back to Nigeria. There's so many things to help keep your fire burning if you're a Christian and it's something that you're looking out for. But definitely for religion, Japanese people are not religious people. It's not even about Christianity or anything. They are just not religious people. Even all this Shintoism, Buddhism, you people hear about them, it's more of a tradition than a religion here. They are actually not religious people at all. It will shock you that if Christmas falls on a weekday, you can even have exam on that day if you're a student. You might even have lab cleanup. That's how much it's just a normal day to them. The one they even take more seriously is like New Year. Even the vibe in church is different, the choice of song, the way they everything is different, right? So it's just important you know that. Now the next thing I'm talking about is the vibe. I remember in Thelma's video I started with saying vibe killer, bloody Samaritan, protect my energy. Now my pastor say I be my like everything I desire, I go receive my redeem, flow like a river. Fam, the vibe in Japan is so different. Japanese people are quiet, simple, to themselves, introverted, and most blacks, whether Nigerian or black Americans I've met, definitely not everybody, but on an average, the blacks tend to be more vocal, outgoing, adventurous, exploring, and also it could be a bit of a challenge. And I remember I did a video here with Shigma, where I explained the challenges of friendship in Japan, or just making a friend in Japan. But what will I advise? Sometimes if you can look for an international place where you would live, fine. Of course, some people have reservations about this. Some other times, just pray. And you yourself, try and be a very friendly person. Try and just make Japan work for you. Try and make Japan work for you. That thing you like doing, don't just stop it because you're in a new place. You love to dance, play music in your house. You must not be loud though. Move your body. You love to sing, play your song, sing. You love to cook. You love to take pictures or create memories, make videos, take your phone outside, feel. Don't use your hand to extinguish your fire because of how the vibe can be. The country can be very quiet. Like, if you're not intentional, you yourself, you start drowning in the silence, and then it becomes lonely and depressive, right? Make friends, reach out to people, be a good friend yourself, be friendly, start conversations, check up on people, join associations, join groups, join international body, join a church, join communities. Be willing to step out of your comfort zone. Honestly guys, I'm not even here to fault Japanese people. I have come to understand them, I've come to love them, just like coming to Nigeria and trying to get us to be quiet, extremely quiet, when you are the foreigner, right? So I'm not sitting here to fault them. It's their life, it's what they are used to, it's their culture. So rather than change them, sometimes you just have to work on how you receive it. Okay? All right. The last thing I'll be talking about, guys, is makeup. That's for the people who are really into contour, highlight, those people that know all these gbogbo. Me, I still dey learn. This my red lipstick is the highest makeup I used to do, but it's also a challenge here for ladies, especially because the shade is different. I think I did a video where I showed you guys raw footage of trying out foundation. The shade is different. Once again, is the law of economics playing out, supply and demand. You don't expect them to stock up on a product that doesn't move sales for them. But yeah, it can be a challenge. I always tell people to order online, or if you have someone coming in from, like, sometime when my mom was coming from Nigeria, my sister-in-law sent some products for me, like my lip balm and stuff. My sister-in-law sent for me, even this lipstick, my sister-in-law sent it for me, so you could find a way to make it work. So yeah guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I was very excited today because I'm excited to sit down and talk with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Drop your comment. Which of these points surprised you? Which of these points are you already familiar with? What other challenge do you think I left out, especially if you're in Japan? Of course, this list is not exhaustive. I am one person, I could not have thought about everything, plus the video is too long. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you next time on Chilotalks.